Hey everybody, welcome back to I Know a Guy. If you're new here, my name's Anthony. I'm a business profit advocate. On this show, we interview entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, and just people doing cool things. For example, today we're meeting with Patrick Boylan, a multi-instrumentalist and co-founder of Museflow, the groundbreaking music edtech platform transforming the way students learn music. Patrick's innovative approach combines neuroscience, gamification, and personalized learning to make mastering an instrument engaging, effective, and fun. How you doing today, Patrick?
Great. How you doing?
I can't complain. It's we got a little snow for the first time. It looks like it's gonna stick around for a little bit, so I don't have to go anywhere, so it's not my problem. How
That's
about you?
great, right? Over here in LA, what do we got? We're at 69, 68 degrees out right now. It's
Eh.
beautiful and sunny, and I cannot wait to go onto the roof of my gym and get some sun today. So,
Yeah, we're not doing that here. I'm
yeah.
gonna I'll have to just have a YouTube video of it or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to live
Yeah.
vicariously through you. So awesome. So LA, are you originally from the area? Are you newer there?
No, born and raised in Chicago. Moved out here about 11 years ago, being an actor. I wanted to scooch on out to LA. I had friends and family out here anyway, and I got representation right out of here, out of the gate. So that's what I did for the first 5 years, being out here in LA. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to see you came from the Midwest so you can appreciate what I'm dealing with and you really appreciate the 70-degree weather.
Oh my God, absolutely. Like the two things that I appreciate the most are the 70-degree weather, like pretty much all the time. Winter is sweater weather for us, and the mountains. Let me tell you, being from the Midwest and actually having mountains right outside my back door blows my mind every morning. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. If you've never seen a setting sun across a mountain range, you haven't lived, you know. Most beautiful thing in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, you come from the Midwest, so you really appreciate it. There's people there that they don't understand. They don't know what a cold winter is. And it's
Yeah.
like, I understand that you were born here, you love it, but you don't love it as much as you could. Go spend a couple winters
Yeah.
or summers in the
Yeah.
Midwest, and you'll come back.
My wife is from LA. She's from a suburb of LA. Agora Hills is the name of it. She went to school, University of Michigan, right up there in Ann Arbor, and she loved it because she got to try it. And then she tried to move down to Chicago for 7 months. Could not do it. Couldn't do it. The wind, let me tell you. I mean, it's called the Windy City for the politics, but like it's true. It is one of the most windiest of cities that I've ever been a part of. So, like truly.
You go outside with that -40 wind chill, and you're
Oh
like,
my
well,
God.
people live here on purpose, and I don't know why I'm one of them. So
Yeah, it's penetrating. There's nothing to stop it. It's crazy.
it goes right through you. But anyway, so what can you tell us that you do with Museflow? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's a music education app out there. It teaches people how to play piano right now. It teaches it in a different way. I am a pianist. I play over at a piano bar here in Hollywood, and I have a couple different gigs around town playing jazz. So I ended up teaching myself how to play piano in a very different way than most people do. I knew how to learn how to, I knew how to read music because I took 8 years of piano lessons the traditional way, and I hated every second of it. It's the classic sort of here's a note, here's a new rhythm, and now go practice a song or two. Go home and practice a song or two with that note or new rhythm in it. And then come back to your teacher the next week and they'll check it off as perfect. Or you'll have to go home and practice that exact same song over and over and over. People found it daunting. People hate it. It's not a good way to teach. It's not fun and it's not effective. And so we want to add another step before we get to actual songs that is engaging, that is fun, that gets you into flow state. And that's what we call sight reading, the act of reading music at first sight. So we give you an infinite amount of music that never repeats, that's perfectly at your level, whether that's one note or whether that's 14 notes. We give it to you right there at that level. You can drop into the curriculum wherever you want, and we give you that music and it just goes and you just play and you're right there in flow state. It's where that challenge meets your skill level, right? Right there in flow state. And you actually play, you continue to play that music. You get 95% accuracy. You streak for 4 phrases of music in a row and you beat the level. Ostensibly, you have learned that new skill at that point. You don't have to be perfect. We're not looking for perfection here. We're looking for fluency. Okay. And so then once you've mastered that new skill, whether that's a new note or a new rhythm, music, actual songs get unlocked after that. So then you go apply the skills that you learned in the sight reading to actual repertoire that gets unlocked. So we're just adding a new step before it, but That step is teaching you the new skill outside of the context of one specific song. It's teaching you in the context of everything that you know up to that point. And then we're giving you songs to go apply that skill in, you know? So it's just a different way of learning how to play music, but it's more fun. It's more engaging. It's flow state. You know, it's all the things that we kind of want when it comes to like learning something new, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. I really love that technique. I was the extent of my music knowledge was in third grade when they taught us how to play recorder. The hot cross buns and three blind mice. That's about as far as I ever got.
Right.
And just how we teach kids and how we teach people in general, no matter what it is kind of wrong-minded in my opinion, and it's really highlighted well with, like you said, with music. It's not engaging. It's almost like there's a barrier that most folks can't even get through. So that's really interesting. And I guess, is there a reason that we're taught in this antiquated way that we should be taught in a better way?
Absolutely. I mean, the reason why we were taught this way for thousands of years is because we didn't have the technology that was necessary to teach this way. Okay. You need an infinite amount of sheet music that never repeats. To give you that would be an impossible task for any composer. How does it also adjust to how you're playing? This dynamic personalization that is needed for a tool that we've created is impossible without the use of AI and generative music, you know? Because we're personalizing it to how you're playing. We're seeing, okay, you're getting this one specific note wrong. Let's give you more of that note. Okay. So you can get that up. It's exposure therapy at that point, you know? So all of these things combined, it's a very intricate sort of mechanism that we've created that is necessary to teach in this way, but it was never possible to be able to do that without the use of technology, you know? So if you were to write all of those phrases out that we've written, that we had, that we're giving you, that we're generating all of that music, it would be thousands and thousands and thousands of phrases, you know? So because of this dynamic sort of way that we're teaching, yeah, it's an antiquated way because we only had the written sheet music, like handwritten or computer generated, like, you know, for thousands of years. That's the only way.
That's awesome. So you mentioned flow state. I've never had that with music, but I felt that in other areas that I've become an expert in, or things that I was practicing and getting better and better at. So it's things that a lot of us can relate to. But what can you tell us about like the neuroscience behind the flow state and how Museflow helps students reach it?
Yeah. So the idea here is we kind of need three things for flow state to occur. You need an activity that is just a little challenging for you, not too challenging to where you're out of focus and your anxiety and adrenaline are going crazy, not too easy to where it's boring and you're just not challenged enough. We need that Goldilocks zone of a challenge. Okay. That comes from personalization. That comes from a dynamic curriculum that we're giving you. You can drop in wherever you want to within the levels that we created that are cumulative. You can drop in wherever you'd like and find where your skill level matches the challenge of that level. That's number one, the Goldilocks zone of challenge. Number two is real-time feedback. We need actionable real-time feedback that you can take with you and apply immediately. Okay. It's called the just-in-time learning methodology. We give you a problem, we tell you how to solve it, and you immediately go and solve it. We change the note colors from red to green to yellow. Red is you got it completely wrong. The duration, the note itself, you got it wrong. Yellow is that you got the note correct, but the duration of the note is wrong. You've got to hold that note down for a certain duration and then let it up at a certain time. If you get that wrong, that's going to turn yellow, but you got the pitch correct. So that's good. And then green, you've got it perfect, right? You see all of this happen as you're playing and as you're going along in a challenge that you're perfectly matched for. And then you you adjust your playing because you see that you're getting all these notes wrong. You're like, okay, no problem. And then you keep on going from there. And the third thing that you need is a clear goal. Okay. You need to be able to understand what you're working towards. Right. And we tell you right off the bat, you need to get 4 phrases of music in a row at 95% accuracy at the goal tempo. Okay. We've gamified it a little bit in that regard, right? But the clear goal is that you need to play at a certain level of proficiency, at a certain accuracy level at the goal tempo. You need to continue to do that throughout the level to then pass that level. That, again, ostensibly, you have learned that new skill at that point, right? And so that's the clear goal for you. The goal is that deadline of I need to play at a certain accuracy for a certain amount of time at a certain pace. Boom. That's the clear goal. So if you put all of those three things together, the Goldilocks zone of a challenge, real-time feedback, and a clear goal, you're going to immerse yourself in that activity and you're going to find yourself perfectly challenged and you're going to really, really enjoy it. And so we tackle all three of those things. We give you all three of those things in the process of learning an instrument, learning piano. And yeah, that's never been done before. And I see, just like you were talking about before, how you would love to see something like this applied to other disciplines, right? Why don't we teach math this way? Where this like clear personalized goal with real-time feedback. Why is that? Why don't we consider that to be the base of all curriculum around the world for any discipline? I don't know why. And so here we are trying to say like there's a different way of teaching, and we want it, and people seem to be really liking it.
Well, you mentioned, technology being the main game changer, and I bet that is the large factor when it comes to doing this for other disciplines. You're doing it for music. There's no reason that similar things couldn't be done for, like you said, anything and everything. It takes a type of innovation, and there's definitely a need for it. Because I know that I've learned better doing than I did sitting and, listening to a lecture or trying to
Yeah.
follow along. So it's definitely needed, because I think there's more people like me than unlike me. But how do you see advancements in AI and gamification shaping the future of music learning? And how does Museflow stay ahead of those trends as they come along?
We can see that like AI and music generation, that it's going to change the game, and it's already changing the game with Museflow. We are allowed to make things so personal to how you're playing using generative AI and machine learning, recognizing patterns within your playing. I hope the hope is that this sort of type of teaching becomes the main way that we're teaching. That yeah, we need generative music that is personalized to you. That's going to keep you in flow state, right? That is the core of how we're teaching. It is the basis of what we need to keep you in flow state. And so that being said, there's no other way to do it without generative AI and machine learning. There's no other way. So I wonder if this is going to become the main way that we're going to teach music. I can see it scaling. That's the biggest thing. Using AI in this type of teaching is going to allow this methodology to scale to larger projects. And again, I think I've told you this before. I don't know if I've said it on this call, but we're not trying to take away music educators. We think that music education needs the human element so deeply. We're just allowing music educators to outsource the teaching of the instrument itself, the technical aspect of playing music. We're just letting music educators outsource that to Museflow so that they can focus on the actual fun of a lesson, which is asking the student, why do you want to play it that way? How do you want to play it? Let's talk about the actual song itself, and let's make decisions on not just technically proficiently. No. Let's talk about why you're playing it that way. Dynamics, crescendos, decrescendos. Do you want to play this loud? Do you want to play this soft? The music will dictate a lot of that, but then you get to make decisions on top of that, which is just the fun part of playing music. So in the future, I can see a choir being taught with the Museflow methodology. You're given a phrase of a song. The Museflow will play it, and then the students will replicate it. We break it down into parts. Got soprano, alto, tenor, bass. Let's do the bass first. Museflow plays a phrase of music, plays it perfectly. Students replicate it. Museflow listens. Museflow plays it once more. Students replicate it. Great. They've got it pretty decently down, right? If there's any specific moments in there that are messed up, Museflow will recognize it and then play those little moments again, and then have them repeat it. Great. Now let's find it within that full phrase yet again. Let's sing that whole phrase again. Great. Now we got that. Let's move up to the alto part. Let's do the same thing. Here's a phrase of music. Museflow plays it, they replicate it. Museflow plays it, they replicate it. Find specific parts that are messed up, they replicate it. Great. Let's put in the whole. Now let's combine those parts. Okay. Bass and alto. They play it together, they sing it together. Play it together, sing it together. Great. Fantastic. Let's start on the tenor part. And then soprano part, And then let's put it all together. Now let's move on to the next phrase. Let's do the same thing. Then let's put that phrase together with the first phrase. Now let's do the next phrase and the next phrase. Let's put it all together. By the end of it, you've got a whole song that acquires being able to sing. And the teacher doesn't need to be there for that part, because that's really the boring part of again, learning how to sing. And the teacher is just repeating these things over and over, and it's not fun. Once they've learned that song, then the teacher steps in and says, okay, let's talk about how we're going to sing this as a group. Let's talk about why we're singing these moments the way that we're singing it. Let's do that as a whole. That's the fun part of teaching music, right? So that's how I see Museflow being incorporated way down the road with a choir. We can do the same thing with an orchestra. We can do the same thing with an entire curriculum at a university. Let's put sight reading first so that we can raise that threshold of your ability to play music at first sight. And then let's learn songs from there. You're going to become a lot more generalist as a musician at that point. We're actually teaching the skills that are needed for a lot of these music jobs out there. A session musician is given music right off the bat. They don't have practice time. No, they just got to go on in and play that music perfectly. Your ability to sight read music is going to be needed so high at that point for that job. We're just doing that first.
Okay. So, parents obviously they could say, "Hey, my kid could definitely benefit from this," and they could use it. But when you're talking about like teachers, choirs, orchestras, or even like I said, me in third grade trying to learn how to play guitar, recorder, this is something that could be implemented into the curriculum. Could be something that, might expedite or speed up that process of getting through the hardest part. Like you said, the repetition and all that. How much quicker can learning this way be, just in your experience, as opposed to the traditional methods?
We're not talking quicker, okay? We're talking, are you more gratified during the process? Are you having more fun? Are you enjoying it more, right? We're not, and also we're talking about thorough too. Are you learning the skills with a foundation that can be applicable to all these different songs? Not, are you learning this one skill in the specific context of this one specific song? Skill building doesn't happen that way. Skill building happens outside of the context of songs. You learn that skill first and then apply it to songs. Otherwise, you're only learning that skill in that one specific context, right? It's not cumulative at that point. That's the traditional way of music. That's the traditional way of teaching music. So when it comes to efficiency, I don't like to talk about efficiency because it's not about being efficient here. It's about, are you enjoying the process of learning your music, of learning your instrument? That's where we succeed 110%, right? We haven't had much of the data, especially comparatively speaking, between traditional music education and our way of teaching, of are we faster yet? We can't tell you that yet. We can tell you qualitatively it's going to be a lot more fun, and you're going to enjoy the process a lot more, and you're going to be in flow state, and you're going to forget about time, and you're just going to want to be immersed in playing this music that is generated for you. That's the fun part, right? So we're just making technically learning your instrument a lot more fun, and you're learning it a lot better than the other way.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that because, like I said, I've wanted to play an instrument for a long time. The recorder kind of killed it for me. Ended up never playing another one again.
For
I bought a
sure.
ukulele years
You're
ago.
not
Just
alone in that. You're not
no,
alone in that.
most people say they want to learn how to play an instrument. So, like, how many actually do?
So the majority of kids in junior high and high school, they end up learning an instrument, at least here in America. And I know overseas, it's actually a lot more. It's required overseas. In a lot of elementary school, middle school, and high school, it's required to learn an instrument. The drop-off rate is pretty intense, though. It's 85%. So you learn the instrument at the beginning, you're not enjoying the process, and then you drop off after high school. 85% of the people drop off. So how many people? I remember reading that it's the vast majority learn how to play an instrument, but it's also the vast majority that stop playing an instrument.
Yeah, well, to me, it felt more like a chore than it felt like something that I would do for enjoyment.
Yeah,
So really like what you're saying there, where you can enter that flow because there's something about just kind of enjoying it, learning it, and doing something in that flow state that it feels right. If you've, ever been in there with anything else, I haven't done it, like I said, with instrumentation, but just throughout my life, there's something about it that the good hormones get released real well while you're in that state.
Yeah,
So
right.
awesome. Well, is there anything that you wanted to add that I failed to ask, or that you wanted to mention?
Not necessarily. No. Um, yeah, I'm really interested to hear what other people think about this. We have about 40 people that are paying for this thing right now. There are early adopters, and we get new users, new paying customers every week, which is really, really cool to see, that it's actually growing and people are enjoying it. I'd love to hear what you think. I'm excited to hear what other people think about this. I'm always in contact with our customers every day, to hear how the applications of Museflow. There's just so diverse, and people use this to just get into flow state, and because they have a very annoying job, and so they come home and instead of vegging out, they play Museflow so that they can stay present and engaged. And then we have kids that are using this with their teachers, 8 years old, right? Sitting there and actually learning how to sight read first and then learning how to play songs. Teachers are finding this to be a more effective way of teaching. So there's a wide variety of people that are using this. There's a wide variety of use cases. I'd love to find more. So I'm here for anybody who wants to chat about it.
Have you thought about any kind of power partnerships, other people that are doing, things in different industries that might synergize well with what you're doing that might be good introductions for you?
Yeah, if we're looking at anybody who owns a music studio or anybody who is a private teacher of piano, that doesn't simply use just a regular acoustic piano yet. Like currently, we need a MIDI keyboard that connects to your computer. Anybody who's like that, anybody who owns like a piano keyboard brand, or who might be a sales rep for piano keyboards, like we'd love to partner with them. Like anybody who owns like a Sam Ash or a Guitar Center, those are the people that we're really looking for to partner with. Anybody that is an administrator of a school or an after school program that would like to think about piano pedagogy as a part of their curriculum, we've got a great solution for you. Those kind of people I'd love to talk with. Anybody who's an administrator at a university. We're talking with a couple people over at Berkeley and over at University of Miami right now that are very interested in incorporating this into their piano pedagogy classes. Those kind of people we're looking forward to connecting with.
Okay, awesome. How can those people get a hold of you? What's the best way that people reach you?
Yeah, I mean, check out our website, museflow.ai. You can take a look there. Email me at patrick.boylan at museflow.ai. It's patrick.boylan at museflow.ai. I'd love to hear what you think. Please, I'm here to chat. You could also look me up on LinkedIn. That's more for my piano stuff, me, playing around town. And yes, I do have like my Museflow work on there and everything like that. You can absolutely hit me up via LinkedIn. Just search Patrick Boylan Museflow on LinkedIn and you'll find me. But mostly, I mean, I'm here for an email. I'm here for an Instagram DM. You can look me up at P Boylan _official on Instagram. Yeah, anywhere you could just Google me. I'm freaking everywhere. It's annoying, kind of. If I ever needed to scrub the internet, it would take forever. Which I guess is kind of cool, actually, if you think about it. But
Perfect. Well, if anybody'd like to get a hold of Patrick, I absolutely recommend it. You might accidentally learn how to play an instrument, so that's
yeah,
on most of our bucket lists anyway. So feel free to reach out to him. If you're a little shy and like an introduction, just ask. I'm more than happy to make a three-way introduction if that's what you prefer. But if anybody out there would like to reach him, I'll have all of his links in the description. If anybody out there would like to be interviewed, you can reach out to me as well. My link will be there as well. But again, Patrick, I really appreciate you coming on, taking the time to talk to us. Really interested in what you're doing. It's super cool. I think more people need to hear about it. So again, thanks for coming on. But other than that, let's all get out there and meet some more people. All right.
sounds great. Thank you so much for having me, Anthony.
It's my pleasure.